everyone, and welcome back to PrepTalk podcast by Tutela Prep. This podcast is the continuation of the previous podcast with Baltej, and in this episode, Baltej shares his insights and importance of creating a standout student resume. Along with that, he also shares his experience of studying at University of Southern California. So, without further ado, let's get this podcast started. So we'll move on to more of your, talking about more of your experiences USC and doing the major. Uh, but before that, we'd like to know how did you feel when you received your test score? Like after giving the second attempt, receiving a 35 super score, how did it felt? And did you think that got the score that you were dreaming of?
I feel like 35 was what I was dreaming for. Realistically, I would have been a little bit happier if it had happened once instead of twice. Uh, could have gone to a few more dinner parties if that had happened. But definitely, I think I was extremely happy because I knew that my standardized scores reflected my true academic capability.
Right.
And so what if it took me two times to get that super score? It still shows what kind of academic caliber I do have when I really put my mind to it. And when that is one of the only things that I'm focused on. Like I think that was a good indicator to my of my peak academic performance. Which I think it is important to know especially when you're going into college, because you can't compare yourself to anyone but yourself. It's
Right.
it's unrealistic to compare yourself to anyone else. So I think my standardized test score was a great indicator of that, and it really gave me the confidence that yes, I can excel at a competitive school like USC. I think it helps. Like even now, I think that like test score in the back of my mind helps fight off the imposter syndrome a little bit.
No, no, I think you did really well. However time it takes, but you should be satisfied at the end of it, right?
Definitely.
Okay, so can you walk us through the process of creating your student resume? What did you include and how did you ensure that it stood to the admissions officer?
So this is actually a really like I really like this question because I spent a lot of time crafting my resume. I'm going to be very
Yeah.
honest about it. I think my resume was vastly like it was much better crafted than a lot of the students around me, and I think I'm very proud of that because I put in all my effort into it. Like I'm not shy about it.
You left a
Uh,
really a lot of parties for that. So
no,
the proud feeling shows on your face.
yeah. The process of creating my resume. I think it all starts with what you want, like what kind of story you want to tell.
Right.
I think that when it came to my resume, like and my profile in general, it had been like I knew very clearly that I had to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time that I was applying, the one story that I could tell was one of like somebody who'd survived and who'd survived a lot of hardship. I'm a childhood cancer survivor. I had leukemia twice, and uh, so the second time around, like that's sort of been like an overarching theme. It's sort of always been at the back of my mind, like back of my mind, as if as something that's affected me in in like many small ways growing up. Like as time has passed, it's affected me less and less, but it still affected me definitely. Um, that is something that I think that is where I started from that story of surviving that hardship of coming back after treatment after so long, having like growing out my hair again as a sick boy, having like a little bit of like beard and having like a darker skin because of that radiation. As a 7-year old, you and like being a little bit on the chubby side because of all those steroids and medications. Uh, I feel like that sort of opens you up to a lot of bullying and like a lot like you get made fun of a lot. What can you say? Kids are cruel. You have to deal with it. It's a part of life. Uh, That was definitely a struggle that gave rise to, I'd say, a little bit of loneliness during my elementary school years. And I think from then on, I really had this passion to like prove myself to people and myself. I don't know why I was proving myself. Like, I was trying to prove something to myself, but I was, and that sort of drove me from that point in time. Reflecting on it while while preparing for college admissions, thinking about what kind of story I wanted to tell. That theme of a survivor really like stood out at like stood out to me, and that was the story that I wanted to tell. uh Survivor is actually the title of my book. It's fiction, obvious. It's fiction. I didn't write a it would have been a little bit on the nose to write a biography, but it's fiction, but it's called Survivor because that's the story that I wanted to tell. And I paraphrased many of my struggles into that, and that became a central part of my resume. Along with that, I also felt when I was applying that there's a lot of inequality when it comes to post-treatment care for a lot of people. And health equality became a very big part of what kind of profile I was trying to create. I was very fortunate that my parents were gifted enough, financially gifted enough to be able to afford my treatment. I know people whose parents have not had that opportunity. Uh, I've known people in like the hospital bed next to me whose parents have not had that opportunity. And that is the story that I wanted to tell. That's what drove me to research new technologies that are taking over taking over like health over the health tech field, like drone delivery in systems in Rwanda for emergency blood supplies in hospitals, in hospitals, because it's a country where roadways aren't that developed. Uh, a system that's ready to deploy and costs like close to $10 per use, that allows the prevention of postpartum hemorrhage, which saves the lives of so many pregnant women and women who just given birth. That was something that I researched, and that became part of the case studies that I sent over to the professor at Stanford who was running that graduate level course about these disruptive medical technologies. I did an internship at a medical device manufacturer here at a mid-sized medical device manufacturer here in Gurgaon, and I was able to get an insight into what kind of products they make, and that and that and that kind of and those kinds of things, and like how they impact people, how medical technology affects people, how it's made. And I think other than that, like it also included a lot of aspects of me right now or at that time. The fact that I liked music and I like to sing, and I'd been training as a singer for 6 years, and that I'd like gone done performances and concerts. It included the fact that I like that somewhere deep down serving my community gave me joy. So when I started, for example, a vegetable delivery business where I became a partner with a vegetable delivery app during COVID when people couldn't go out to buy fresh fruits and vegetables, and I would get up in the morning to have those delivered to me and then distribute those to everyone living in my society. I feel that that sense of serving the people and putting people first rather than myself was also a central part of my of my resume, because I remember taking a minuscule amount of profit from that vegetable delivery business. It was almost all of it was given to a nonprofit organization. Same with my book, like none of it comes to me. all of it is donated to charity. And so from the 400 copies that I sold when it first got published, all of it went to charity. So I think at like there in certain ways I try to tell universities or show universities and show through my profile the truest version of myself, or at least the truest version of myself that I knew at that time when applying. And I think that person is a survivor and somebody who cares about a lot more about things much bigger than himself.
I think that was a really nice story. I would have, accepted you right away hearing that. I think you've gone through a lot, and in the
Thank you.
process
I
of
appreciate
going
it.
through a lot, you have a lot of empathy towards the people that really showed off. I think that is what made your resume stand out. You should be proud as much as you can because it's a really nice story. And the fact that you went through so much and you, in return, did a lot for people. That at age of what, 16, 17? It's
Yeah,
commendable.
15, 16, 17. I mean,
Yeah,
I tried to do my part as
it's
like
amazing.
I right now I think I'm focusing a little bit more on self-development because it's a pivotal like second year in college. It's a pivotal moment in my life. I need to start thinking about myself a little bit more, but I think that need to serve others and like that empathy will it's always going to be a part of me, whether it's in like big gestures such as donation or like going into the streets and serving, doing some kind of social service in like in the near future, or it is as simple as smiling at someone in a coffee shop or like buying the person in the line behind me coffee. I just feel that that's the kind of person I am. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
That's so sweet. That's very sweet.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next question, not forgetting the podcast, and we have to help
Yeah,
a lot of students also in the process.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So, okay. So how did you like you are in USC, right? So how did you choose
Yeah,
the universities and what all acceptances did you get and how did you finalize uh,
right.
USC as your final college?
I think the decision for USC was pretty simple. It was the best school that it was the best school that I got into.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it was the best ranked. That did play a role for me. It was in
Right.
Southern California. There's beautiful weather. I looked at photos of the campus, couldn't tour it because of COVID. I really like the campus, the red brick. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I could not have gone wrong with my decision. The school spirit is amazing. People are nice. They're great. I like the people here are really nice. They're very sweet. Yes, it's a large school. It takes a little bit of it takes some time to find your people and your community, but and it takes some faith in yourself that yes, I've got this. I do belong here. But
Mm-hmm.
once you have that faith, I think it's just a beautiful place to be, especially in the heart of Los Angeles. You're really around a lot of culture.
Yeah,
We actually get free access to the Natural History Museum that's right across
that's
the
nice.
street, and we the right across the street, and we get so many cool events. We have huge names like Kanye West who perform in the LA Coliseum, which is our football arena.
Okay.
Um, So yeah, other than that, a lot of the schools that I got into were the University of Rochester. I got in there with
Mm-hmm.
a $10,000 scholarship with the option of $15,000 more that I could have applied for. I got into the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. I got into UC Irvine. I got into uh, Drexel University. And yeah, I think those are four more. I only applied to 10 schools, so that's like a 1 in 2 acceptance rate. That's not bad. I'm happy
No,
with
no,
it.
it's good. It's good. And I see the love in your eyes for USC, and I think you are at an amazing place.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
So, can you tell us about your current life in college? I think you explained a little bit, but
Yeah.
we need to know more. Come on, how is life at
Okay.
USC and how did you make friends and everything? Need to know that.
I would definitely say that I've taken some time getting used to USC. The academics are definitely much tougher than I had anticipated, even doing IB. So even now you have even despite IB, I have to make a lot of effort to plan my day and make sure that I'm on top of all of my assignments and I'm doing the regular study so I can do well and do well on all my tests. Uh, I would like you. I would definitely say USC is a very vibrant place. You learn something new about people everywhere. You can find friends in the most unexpected of places. I didn't find like I found some of my closest friends not through some club or or at a party, but having ran into one of their roommates in the elevator in my building. And now, like we took a se- we like the three of us, we took a trip to San Diego last week over
Yeah.
spring break, which was really really fun. I would definitely say I found friends in unexpected places. I haven't yet figured out what my academic and extracurricular life is exactly going to look like, what kind of clubs I'm going to be part of by the time I graduate. But I'm definitely figuring it out. It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of being
Absolutely.
open to new experiences. It's a lot of spontaneity. It's a lot of being ready for boba milk tea at midnight and
Coffees.
Wingstop and Subway at 6. Yeah, coffee, Wingstop or Subway at 6 a.m. in the morning. Um,
Right.
going to the gym with somebody at a minute's notice, or getting ready to go for dinner out into Beverly Hills at an hour's notice. You definitely have to embrace the spontaneity. And I think that college has taught me to be an extroverted person, not a more extroverted person, not care as much about what people are may think of me or may not think of me. Uh, I would definitely say that USC has taught me to just embrace the awkwardness that comes with being human. That's, I think, the best way that I can put it. And I've had overall, I'm happy with where I'm at right now, and I think I can only go up from here in terms of my experience at USC.
That's great to know. I just got nostalgia about my college life, so I think you
Yeah.
portrayed it well. So, all
Yeah.
right.
I mean,
Uh,
obviously it's not all daisy, all or not all sunshine and daisies.
Obviously,
You definitely have like 80% of the time you are studying, but that 20%, it's sweet.
it's
I
worth
enjoy
it.
that
Yeah.
20%. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, what advice would you give to the students who are currently considering studying abroad? And what are some important factors that you want them to take care of while they're preparing their resume or just preparing for the standardized test?
I feel like when it comes to preparing for standardized tests, practice is key. Keep
Mm-hmm.
practicing. Use all the resources that you have. Like, but make sure that you know your own limits. Burnout is very easy to achieve and very hard to get out of. So definitely plan plan your studying, plan the time when you give the test, plan how you're going to study for it, plan work around all the other responsibilities that you may have, whether it's school, whether it's extracurriculars, whether it's whatever you have going on. Definitely work around those and learn to schedule and learn to plan and learn to allocate time to all of those things because they're equally important. It's great to have a one track mind. If you can go from one thing to another, and if you have that limitless energy, I envy you. But most of the time, with a one track mind, you need to be able to plan. Like I needed to be able to plan all the things that were going on and make a list of all the things that were going on. So definitely list things out, plan. That's the number one thing that I can say. Other than that, I would say take the time, like take your time, take your college application process as a time to really connect with yourself and really understand who you are right now. you might be a different person in 1 year, 2 years, 6 months after your college application process is over, whatever time. But try to understand who you are right now and try to show that and the most unadulterated, raw version of that to admission officers through your profile. Colleges
Yeah.
appreciate honesty. Colleges appreciate when you keep it real. Colleges appreciate that you put your best foot forward, but they also appreciate that you're not afraid to show that you're not afraid to accept when you fumbled and where you fumbled. And
Right.
but the most important thing is to learn from your failures. It's okay to fail, but learn from them.
So,
Hmm.
we move on to our last question, finally.
Yeah.
And so, looking ahead, what are your goals for the rest of your time at USC and beyond? And what do you hope to achieve academically and personally?
That's actually a really interesting question. It's wow, I haven't thought about this in a while. I think as a sophomore, obviously there are a lot of things that you have to start thinking about now, but there are also a lot of things that seem a little bit distant, or that are a little bit distant. Uh, I personally feel a little bit detached from the idea of being a full-fledged adult who has a job and works maybe maybe who's part of like the corporate world and works a 9 to 5, and does like regular adult things. I'm not sure I'm ready for that yet. But I think one of the things that I want to do at USC is keep maintaining the same high standard of academic standing that I'm aiming for. Uh,
Mhm.
so my GPA is of utmost important to me. I think that's one of the most important things in my life at college. But also, I really do want to make lifelong friends and relationships. Um, I want to find great people to, you know, do like a lot of great things. I want to find people to take trips with. I want to find people to go to the beach with. I want to find people to go to the gym with. I want to find people who I connect with and who, I mean, I can only hope that they will stay with me for the rest of my life. That is, I think, what most people want out of college, but me more than anything. I thrive when I have a good support system and when I am connected with great people. And the environment around me really is really governs whether I'm doing well or I'm not. And I thrive in a supportive environment. So that is something that I'm looking to build uh, for myself. Overall, I think one of the things that I want to learn through USC is definitely independence. I want to learn and I want to be able to achieve independence of all kinds, whether it is financial, whether it is, personal in terms of like my ability to plan, my ability to uh, be the master of my own time, let's say, my ability to um, spend my time and effort in a way that fulfills me. And yes, definitely getting a great job, definitely getting a great job is part of that. And I hope, and I'm really working to make that a reality. Uh, but at the same time, I think independence and and learning to be an adult is more than just the job that you have. I think it's about being able to build a support system for yourself, being able to be self-sufficient and dependent on yourself for your own well-being, and just learning to be the master of your own time and your own fate, just knowing that everything is in your control. Um, I think that's something that I want out of college, to be able to build personal, academic, personal independence, financial independence, financial independence, just to learn to be independent in all aspects of my life.
That's a great answer. I think everybody is looking for that in some or the other way. And
Yeah.
I think you'll get it. You look like a good people's person, so I think you'll be able to build all of that.
Thank you so
And I
much. I
wish you all the
appreciate it.
best for all your endeavors. I hope you achieve great heights.
Thank you so much. It's been great talking to you. I've
Same
really
here.
enjoyed this. Thank you
Same
so much for
here.
all your wishes.
So, and thank you so much for agreeing to do the podcast. It's been it's been a great podcast, and I think all the listeners would love this and would take a lot of things back from the conversation that we have had. So, with
Thank
that
you.
note, we'll end this podcast for today. For all the listeners, I hope you like the conversation we had. And if you have any questions for Baltej, do mention them on the comments. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, everybody.